25.
29.
I got a 5.
Oh. Alright, well, I guess, after we introduce Celine, you will be going next. And, Rye, do you know how to roll dice in Roll20 without using the buttons on your character sheet?
Oh, I used an outside website. What,
Okay,
how do I do that?
You type /R and then a space and then D for dice and then what the number for whatever kind. There you are.
Got it. Well, still about the same.
Still about the same. It didn't like this roll. It didn't really matter so much, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to do it in the Roll20.
Wait a second, Kojin, didn't you roll a D100 earlier?
No,
Oh,
I
no,
just
wait,
rolled it once.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, but, so, Celine, please, give us a brief description of Nova, and, tell us... Oh, I should start by, describing the ballroom a little bit, actually. You, the Royal Ballroom of, Flora is quite old. It is quite grand, but, is rather dated. Clearly has not, like, everything's been well kept, but clearly it has not kept up with the latest fashions, and you while the party has only recently started, you can see people milling about here and there. There are some, there's a few maids serving aperitifs, and there are some small tables for guests to use if they wish to take a light snack. But there's, for the moment, the royal family is up on the dais up here. You see... hang on, I'm just going to bring their art over. You see, of course, if it will let me... You see, of course, King Tarragon.
Oh.
As...
Liz, real quick. If you select the token and you hit Shift-Z, it will display it for us, so you don't need to do that.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, now you all get to see how absolutely lovely and garish King Tarragon's sense of style is. But, yes. So you said Shift-Z? There we go.
Oh, nice.
King Tarragon, as bright and vivacious as ever, looking out over his kingdom, talking jovially with his children, that I did not mean to bring that back. That was the wrong set of quick keys. The much more subdued and peaceful looking Crown Prince Charmaign, and the lovely and bright little Princess Poppy, who seems to be sort of swaying a little bit to the music, and seems to be having a little bit of trouble standing still for the proceedings. Interestingly enough, not on the dais, but off to the side, Princess Leona of Fauna has showed up in attendance, though seems to be keeping a little bit of distance from the royal family and letting them have their time in the limelight, so to speak. She's watching the crowd with a sort of impassive look as she drinks from a goblet of dark wine. But so yeah, that is what is happening so far. Celine, if you would like to introduce Nova to us.
All right. So Nova. Oh, let me see. How do you delete a token?
Oh, you click on it and then press backspace.
Okay, so click on it. There we go. Sorry, I just realized that I didn't put down particularly the new Nova. Anyway, so Nova is one of the guards keeping watch over the ball. She's standing there with a steady gaze as she looks to and fro from all the different people, the different things going on. Just staying vigilant, mostly. She has long, curly blonde hair. She's wearing a blouse with a corset and a long necklace. She has a bit of a serious face so far. Mostly because she's doing her job, I would say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Kaiju, if you could please drag Ileana over to on the bottom of the map around the stairs here, please.
It's not letting me drag her over. I mean, I can open the character sheet.
Oh, hang on.
I think I got her down now. I think I'm just
Okay,
having a
great.
little bit of lag because of the excuse me. Because of the streaming right now. But all right, cool. Just kind
All right. So you come in with your date. Errol. younger noble of a court family by the name of Rubus. This is Errol, one of the younger sons. He's like maybe, let's say maybe like 22. He's not the youngest of his brothers, but
He's the most gullible.
Yes, even his 12-year-old baby brother is less gullible than he is. But you come in on the arm of Errol, and when you reach the floor of the ball, and I'm just gonna go ahead and drag your thing up for you.
I got it, but
You are
Mhm.
announced as His Lordship Errol Rubus and companion. And how does the page announce you? And would you please describe your character for us?
Okay. The page announces me solely as Ileana, and she has long black hair and is pretty. Is there? Oh, you said it to show everyone. It's Control Shift Z.
Yes.
Not working for me.
It might actually just be Shift Z.
Shift C. Nope, might be a DM only thing. If you wanted to pop her up on the.
It is a DM only thing, yes.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
But she's got blue. One more time, I accidentally clicked it off. She's got black hair and blue eyes, and she's just got a really calculating look. Her emotions and mannerisms seem almost genuine whenever she's interacting with somebody. But if you watch her, as soon as the attention is no longer on her, she like reverts back to like resting bitch face. She does have like a sort of walking elegance that she comes from high class, and that a lot of the higher class situations she can easily maneuver and navigate through. So she's been to these things a lot, but she doesn't really seem to have an actual homeland or a place that she comes from. She just tends to move around. But what she's wearing is just like a long purple dress to kind of match to accommodate the style of her date.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I'm going to have Errol sort of bring you over and start chatting with the nearest person he sees, and he's very animatedly chatting with them. It seems very engrossed in the conversation. And with that, we are going to move on to Rye. If your character would come down to the bottom of these stairs, please.
Right, Scorpia enters slowly down towards the area of greeting. I would say Faye, Scorpia uses Faye, fair pronouns. Yes?
I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick. Do you actually know how to drag your token onto the map?
Oh, so I can drag my token myself.
You should be able to.
Where am I?
I'm not sure if it's a DM only thing, but there should be a little thing that says art library.
Okay, no.
That I
It's not art library. So, Rye, what you're gonna want to do is, in the upper right-hand corner, do you see a bar that looks like chat bubbles, a newspaper, a musical note, 3 lines, and then a gear?
Yes.
Click on the one that looks like a newspaper. When you click on that, you should see your character. Click on their name and drag it out onto the map.
Okay. Okay. Where would you like me to have Scorpia?
towards the bottom of the map here, please. Just sort of the center bottom of the map.
I'm sorry, was I supposed to edit this?
You know what? That's my fault. I did not tell you how to do that when we were making your character. We should have taken care of that then.
Well, if we have a break at some point, I can fix it. Unless you'd prefer to do that now.
I would actually prefer to do that now. I'm just gonna go over and see if I can edit your... Alright. Do... Save image. Save. Save changes. And then I'm going to delete the token that you put down, and then hopefully I can drag that on there. There we go. And then can you just confirm for me that you can move that token?
Alright, let's see.
You should be able to click on it and then...
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Looks like it. Okay, so I am going up to
Here.
Alright. Right here?
Yep. So you come in on the arm of Madame Karamia. She is the head of the Merchants Guild, and so you are announced by the page as Madame Karamia of the Merchants Guild, and guests. And then how does the page announce you? And please describe your character.
The page will announce me as Scorpia Blackbone, a member of the Merchants Guild, and the guest blacksmith, who has been well, I guess like we talked about that. I am struggling with wording a bit at the moment, but just an introduction that briefly explains that Scorpia has been commissioned for the Crown Prince's weapon.
Yes.
I would say if appropriate, the page would say that Scorpia uses fair pronouns. If not, I will just be using that.
That is absolutely appropriate.
I would say that succinctly, Faye could be described in a look as gothic and kind of spiky. Maybe giving the impression that Faye is a little more standoffish than Faye actually is. A bit tight-lipped, but that is more from a nervousness than from a lack of interest in the other guests and the atmosphere that is there. Faye is dressed in all black with spots of deep purple and has about a dozen facial piercings. The dress is an elegant cocktail dress. There are fishnet sleeves and a slit up the side of the skirt that is about knee length, and the footwear is kind of stompy boots, which is also covered in spikes. There are amethysts in fair jewelry. Fair features are gentle and of average beauty, and other than having her fair fist clenched at fair side, Faye is attempting to stand.
Right, thank you very much, and that was a very good job of show don't tell. So Karamia is going to sort of weave you guys through the party to a respectable distance away from the dais. I hope you don't mind if I move your character up there real quick. So that you can be on standby for when it is time for the prince to be presented with his presents. Alright, and then, I'm sorry, Alex, I completely messed that up and skipped over, Lena, so why don't you bring Lena onto the map?
I think it's fair. She seems like the type to arrive fashionably late.
Alright. So yeah, you head up the stairs and over and pause next to the page so that you can be announced. And how does the page announce you?
The Lady Lina Sabre of Nangao on the Jade Sea.
Ooh, fancy. Could you describe your character for us, please?
But of course. So, Lina is not a very tall woman. She stands at about 5 feet in height. She has a svelte figure. Her height is somewhat offset by wearing high heels. Her eyes are startlingly green, and her hair, she's got red hair, which is long and it has a slight natural curliness to it. She is wearing a green dress with also like long green gloves reaching up nearly to her shoulder on her arms. She's got sapphire earrings and 2 matching sapphire rings on each of her index fingers.
Alright, and I just want to note real quick that Scorpia, you perhaps cannot see them from here, but if at any point you get within range, you will notice those sapphire earrings real quick, and it's going to tug at a little memory for you about something you were warned of.
Yes.
Alright. So, Lina, please go and mingle as you wish, since you don't have a companion steering you.
Indeed.
And I'm just gonna ask, guests are continuing to stream in, but in the meanwhile, what all are you doing to enjoy this party? Anything in particular? Or, is there... you're welcome to go up and, talk to each other, talk to anybody who looks interesting. I just want to give your characters a little chance to mingle a bit with who we already have before we introduce anyone else.
Right.
Right.
I'm slightly curious to what the person. Sorry, go on. You guys go first.
No, you go first.
Okay, I'm curious what the person my date is, or what she's about with the person who introduced us. So I'm kind of listening to their conversation and trying to get a gauge of if this is somebody I really need to pay attention to, or if I should start trying to ditch my date and go about my own way.
Right, well, she, is a seemingly fairly fashionable, woman. You'd guess in about, like, maybe her, early to mid-30s. She's got a very fashionable, little dog, tucked in one arm. And she's just sort of going, "Oh, Errol, I wish your older brother would have been able to attend. He always, manages to wow the crowd with the latest thing that he's, picked up from the, tailors. Though I see your lovely date is wearing something quite fetching. Tell me, where did you pick her up?"
Well, he goes and relates the tale of our chance meeting encounter as he had knocked something over onto me and graciously repaired and replaced the item that was destroyed. I'm gonna wander over to the food area and get a small plate of like meat bits and chocolate, and not too much, just a little bit. Put it in the meat and feed it to the dog to give it some indigestion. While she's talking, and just come back because I don't know. Ileana just has a bad doesn't like her. So yeah.
Well, the dog snarfs it up right away. You get the impression that it is quite possibly bored out of its mind, and so it is quite happy to accept a treat. After a few minutes, though, its stomach starts making some rather questionable noises, and it starts sort of wriggling, as if it very badly needs outside. And the woman goes, "Oh, Muffy! Oh, Muffy, why don't you stay? Oh, excuse me, I really must attend to her. I'll be right back." And is going to wander off to attend to her poor dog, which you hopefully have not poisoned.
I'm gonna just smile and look at my date, and I'm just gonna put my arm around his and just be like, "So, who's next, dear?"
Yep. Okay. And while he, walks you over to your next victim, which I'm actually, because of how close they are, I'm actually going to make Lina. So we will get back to that in
Right.
a second. Celine, what does Nova think of the people who've been announced so far? I assume you have been watching.
Yeah, she's keeping watching them. So far they've come with others, so they're not alone and suspicious, aside from the one. She's just going to do a loop around, kind of a circle around the thing, just checking on everyone. Probably while the dog was getting poisoned, that's why she didn't notice.
Yep. Yeah, it's, mainly just idle party chatter. People, talking about what sort of presents the prince is going to get, and, doesn't the royal family look lovely?
Yeah. Nova's
little...
smiling and nodding to all of this, like,
Mm-hmm.
making everything kind of like end on a positive note with the guests.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then before we get back to Lina and Ileana, I'm gonna ask. So Scorpia, uh what are you and Madam Okay, not sure what that one was for.
That was just an accident.
What?
I clicked on something weird.
Okay. Uh, what are you and Madam Karamia? How are you guys feeling? I mean, Karamia seems fairly relaxed and confident. It seems like she's been to maybe a couple of royal functions as the head of the Merchants Guild. But how are you doing?
Sorry, I was muted for a second. This is my first event, so I am chatting with Madame Karamia while gazing around the room, taking everything in, kind of examining the different outfits and jewelry. I'm not quite used to the level of wealth that I am experiencing right now, and my kind of impulsive side is looking at the some of the goblets, thinking if there's a way that I could possibly sneak one out of the ballroom before leaving. Also kind of eyeing the tables maybe where are there hors d'oeuvres? Are there
There are indeed, and in fact, as you are eyeing them, a maid comes up and curtsies lightly. Somehow manages to do a curtsy despite having both hands full with one serving tray of goblets and one serving tray of hors d'oeuvres, but still manages to do the perfect curtsy as she offers you some light refreshments.
I will graciously accept. What type of refreshments is she offering me?
Well, there is wine, of course, both something white and lighter, a little bit just gently sparkling. I would say it smells sort of floral and refreshing. And then there is a darker wine that smells of it is not carbonated. It smells of rich, deep berries with a hint of spice. And then as far as hors d'oeuvres go, there is some surprisingly refined looking pigs in blankets, a few I suppose the best way to describe them would be cheese and spinach turnovers, like some sort of dark leafy green and goat cheese mixture that has been wrapped in puff pastry.
Like a spanakopita kind of thing?
Like a spanakopita, yes. And some little open-faced pies of fresh fruit that have been drizzled in a little bit of honey.
Oh, okay. Well, I will select the floral drink and the spinach and cheese type pastry, and thank the server. Then I suppose I'll continue talking to Madame Carmia. I imagine that I am familiar with her enough that I feel a little more relaxed in her presence. I don't have an interest in really venturing to talk to anyone else, and I am kind of rambling about a new technique I've learned on smithing with magical weapons, and the progress I've made with practicing those techniques. I might also. All right.
Nope, sorry. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that she seems to be listening with interest, and is just nodding in between sips of the darker wine that she decided to pick up from the server. But you go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I suppose I would also inquire as to a little more of her background with being a merchant, since I imagine I am familiar as her being a head of the guild, but have not talked to her much personally.
Right. Well, in that case, she's going to tell you, well, my parents, my father, really, he came here, from abroad as a young lad, not one of the nearby kingdoms, but, a place a bit farther. He met my mother, who, actually had come over here from Zethorn, the kingdom across the lake. And they decided to, when they got together, they decided to open up a small street stall, selling some of the wares that they still had from back home because, well, times were tough and they were in a new place that they had only been for a few years, did not quite fully know the language yet, did not quite. I mean, my mother was much better at it, being from Zethorn, but still, they eventually were able to expand out and get a few more stalls, eventually a shop, which they had us, their children, help to run, and so you could say I have been in the merchant life for a very long time. I have worked my way up through the guild and been rewarded for my dedication.
And I listen intently and appreciate hearing about her experiences.
All right. A little world building tidbit for you. You would know. She mentioned that Zethor. It was easier for her mother learning the language because she was from Zethorn. You would know that Zethorn, the kingdom across the lake, and Flora, this kingdom, while they don't speak the same language, they their languages are actually quite similar because there is a parent language that both of the languages stem from. There was a language split that happened some 50 or 60 years ago. So the languages are actually still fairly similar. But yeah, just a little world building tidbit that I wanted to throw in there because, like, I have a few of them and they're fun to share.
Agreed.
Appreciated.
Cool.
Alright. So, I am going to now move back over to Ileana and Lina. So, Lina, this couple approaches you, a rather chumpish looking young man who is sort of fawning a bit over the elegant woman at his side, and he starts the conversation by saying to you, "Oh, I don't think I've seen you at one of these events before. I'm Ariel Rubus. Uh, and this is my companion for the night, the lovely Ileana. Uh, tell me, are you visiting dignitary who's come for the event, or uh, perhaps a guest of one of the nobility tonight?"
Lina sort of glances between the two of them, and I should note by this point that she already has a goblet of that darker wine in her hands, and there are like there were already two women paying a great deal of attention to her by the time you guys came over, but she looks over to you guys and glances between the two newcomers, and she says, "Lovely indeed to meet you both. In answer to your question, I suppose I could be considered more a guest of the nobility. My family owns a rather large trading consortium, and we've been looking to expand in this area. As such, I was invited here as a gesture of goodwill, and I must say it's been very hospitable so far."
All right. Errol makes, a rather inane comment about how he's glad to show off the hospitality of to help show off the hospitality of Flora. Ileana, what do you make of that little introduction, and would you like to add anything to your own?
I go ahead and nod and take a sip of wine also, and just reply, interesting. I myself come from a long line of merchantiles who actually fashioned some of the jewelry that I'm wearing, and I show off a couple of, or one of the rings that I probably have stolen from a lord a while back.
Truly, isn't that quite interesting? These were, and Lina sort of brushes one of her earrings with one of her index fingers, so you can see the ring matching the earring. She says, "These were a gift to me from a friend back in Nangao."
No,
Ah,
Ileana smiles and looks at him, is really impressed with him.
ah.
Hmm.
Lina definitely seems a lot more interested in Ileana than, well, basically anyone else nearby. And as she lifts the gauntlet to her lips again, she's sort of studying her over the goblet. And I would like to perform a figure out a person move, if I may.
You absolutely may.
Oh, okay. So according to that, I may ask 2 questions, but they may ask one of you. So,
Uh, Correct.
from this list,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask. Well, the first one is going to be, what do you hope to get from Rubus here?
Well, I just smile and say, simply put, I heard about this party and wanted to attend,
Uh,
and Rubus here, graciously invited me to. So I just wanted to look around and see all the finery.
Are these questions meant to be answered in character or out of character? I thought this was supposed to be more sort of like insights that I.
I don't know. I didn't know how those go.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think they're generally, yeah, I think it could kind of go either way. I am going to say that if you can think of a way to answer them in character, go ahead, but that for the most part, these are impressions that you get of each other.
Right. See, the reason I ask is because one of the questions that is exclusive to the scoundrel class is, what would make you run away with me? And I'm not going to ask that in front of this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So.
So, like, really, what do you hope to get from this guy?
I'm going to just imply that I'm pretty much done with him, and I'm just looking for an excuse to drop him and move about.
Okay. The second thing is, what do you love most?
You get the impression that it's herself.
Okay. And you may now ask one of me, because I rolled an 8.
Okay. All right. She's gonna ask basically, what do you hope to get from being here?
You get the impression that Lina is here primarily for material gain.
All right.
All right. And with that, I am actually going to say that Errol has been looking around to try and see where those pesky hors d'oeuvres and wine got to, because he was so busy talking to people he completely forgot to grab anything. So he just says, "Oh, please excuse me, just a moment. I don't seem to have managed to grab any wine. I will be right back." And he's going to sort of extricate himself from that to go off in search of
refreshments.
Yes.
Eliana
So,
just kind of droop her shoulders and just let out a sigh of relief. It was like, ah, and just kind of pop her neck a little bit and smile at yeah, I'm having a brain fart here, Lina, and just feel like you have to keep such a annoying posture with these people sometimes. She also like cracks her knuckles like really loud too.
Lina just kind of smirks and says, "Don't I know it? But don't go letting them catch on either."
I just nod.
Lina will offer you a wink, dismiss herself from the other two with promises of a dance later, and kind of continue through the ball, examining statues, and very casually, like kind of passively, trying to catch the eye of Princess Leona.
Right. We are going to pause that right there, just because you just passed by Nova. Nova, you were kind of close for that exchange that just happened. Was there any thing that you maybe picked up on? Any moves that you wanted to do? Celine?
I
Oh, there
believe
you are.
Nova. Sorry, I'm trying to signal while holding a phone. It's not working. Don't do it at home, kids. Nova probably is. I'm trying to think of her sheet. She probably would she be able to do any particular things trying to determine anything from the exchanges, or would they have been a bit too far away?
Well, I am just going to look through your move sheet.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm still a ways from home.
No worries. Do. Well, I would say as far as the moves that would be appropriate go, you could try, maybe you weren't close enough to catch everything that was being said, but you could try and maybe do a figure out a person roll to see if you can, gain any insight from their body language. You are also, I think it's fair to say that for the moment, your goal is to keep things running safely and smoothly at the party, so you could, so once per scene, you are allowed to do something called tenacious purpose, which means that you may ask the GM how you could advance the goal in a way that violates civilized norms. And then...
May I ask the GM about that?
Yes, you may. So your goal is basically to keep things going well here.
Yeah, going well, going smoothly, kind of.
Mm-hmm. A way that would violate civilized norms, certainly the norms of what is expected at a ball, is you could just march straight up to one of them and demand to know what they were just talking about. That certainly would violate civilized norms. If you do, you can take a +1 forward to act on, to actually act that out. However, if you refrain, it counts as an uncomfortable situation and reduces your feral by 1. You must mark a condition.
Yeah, I think she'll just straight up walk up to you guys. If you would be so kind to move my token. she'd walk up and demand, what were you guys talking about? Are you planning something?
I'm just gonna put you kind of like here between the two of them.
Okay, I'll see once I get home.
Okay, yeah, now are you directing this at both of them, or is there one of them that you wanted to maybe single out for this?
I will say Lina was closer when this happened, if that matters for your decision.
I was probably going to say Lina just because, once again, she did come by herself. At least, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting her name. At least she came with a partner, and she can't tell right off the bat by their body language that what like how the other person had learned about them. So she's just gonna go kind of more after Lina.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the. There should be a way for me to mark +1 forward.
I will say probably her hair, it seems a bit thicker, if not curlier, when she comes up to you guys, just from that slight transition. Like, just more, not disheveled, oh god, what's the word? Disheveled? But more just like,
Kinda
more of a wild air to her. Yeah, like lumberjack style.
The question is, are you okay? Do you sleep all night and work all day?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was an in-character response or if you were making a joke.
No, I was making a joke. No, but Lina spins around and she sort of like puts a hand to her chest and she's like, "Why me, a guardswoman?"
Aye, you came in by yourself. You have no one to back up what you're doing here.
Back up what I'm doing here? Well, no, I rather thought the invitation was what that was for, but if you must know, I was speaking with her about how tiresome it can sometimes be to, keep one's back straight, all the airs that you have to put on when a situation like this, all the nobility around and such, it can get tiresome at times, but, well, I am very flattered that you are paying such close attention to me. And may I use a move here?
Which move were you looking to use?
Entice.
You may absolutely attempt an enticement.
So close.
Alright, mark off an experience.
I shall do so.
Yeah, yeah,
Do I have to do anything to not, like, on my end, or it's just on her end?
Nope, it's just on her end. So basically, whatever it is, maybe the flirtation just goes over your head. Maybe
I'm imagining it does
simply-
because she was just talking about how hard it is about having a straight back. She's just already like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, the flirtation is too subtle for you, and you are not enticed because you just do not catch it. So yeah, how do you want to respond to this strange person who is,
Okay, what
like,
did you say when you tried to... What was the last thing you said, sorry? Just so I get my mind on it.
She said, "I'm flattered that you're paying such close attention to me."
Don't flatter yourself, I'm just doing my job. You are the most suspicious. Next in line with And she'll shrug her head over to, oh god, who did I determine to be the next suspicious one? She'll just gesture into the crowd, because I imagine the ballroom is filled up a bit now.
Mm-hmm. It has a little bit.
I just want to point out that I'm watching this encounter, and when I get a chance, I would love to talk to the paranoid guard here.
Lina just kind of grins and says, "Well, you may continue to watch me if you so wish. I'm not opposed to the idea at all, but you'll find that I'm doing nothing untoward. But just be careful. Jealousy is a bad look." And Lina will spin around and go back to schmoozing.
Hey, I am gonna, Ileana, if you want to take the opportunity to talk to the paranoid guard, however, I would like to check in real quick, with, I'd like to check in real quick with Scorpia, and, yeah, I am going to... Hang on just a second. I am going to say that this man over here has since come up to you and Madame Caramia, and well, unfortunately, he seems to be a bit snotty, is sort of making some snide comments about, having, those of the mercantile class, here at such a, grand royal function. Caramia seems to be, you can see her gripping her goblet a little bit tighter, but seems to be keeping a fairly neutral face for this. What is your reaction?
I imagine so clenching my fists, but calm disposition, and I will comment that we all have our strengths, and to ensure that the prince will receive a gift which will have the means to protect himself and eventually guide the kingdom. Something along the lines of the importance of weaponry in the upper classes, and how without me and those I apprentice under, that their power would be empty. But I mean, I will try to say that in the most subtle and covert way possible, maybe a little passive aggressive, clearly annoyed, but not wanting to be aggressive, just not particularly caring what this particular noble thinks of me, realizing as I'm saying it, though, was maybe a little bit reckless to speak that much of my mind and not keep these opinions to myself.
Alright, I am going to say that, you know what? I'm going to say that this is to keep things interesting, I'm going to say that this is actually an instance of you attempting to give emotional support to Karamia. And plus heart or plus spirit for me.
You're a little bit quiet to me.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that I think that this is quite possibly an instance of you using the recovery move emotional support towards Karamia. I am going to ask you to please roll either plus heart or plus spirit. And tell me what you roll.
Alright, well. I will be rolling spirit. What dice am I rolling?
You should be able to go into your character sheet, and you should be able to click on the dice next to
Did it show up?
Yes, it did. Okay.
Got a 7. It's a mixed beat.
That is a mixed beat. So what I'm going to say happens is that the noble who was talking to you two looks a little shocked that you have essentially, while doing it in the nicest way possible, you have essentially spoken back to him, and he certainly doesn't seem happy with it, but he's cowed enough at least that the most he does is shoot you a bit of a judgmental glare before making his excuse, muttering his excuses and leaving. And Karamia is going to turn to you and say, thank you, my dear. Perhaps not the wisest choice, but I do appreciate it. Still, I will tell you, you must be a bit careful around these nobles. They are very used to people sitting in certain molds and can react in predictably hostile ways to those of us who come from more unique paths of life. Still, I don't know how much longer I could have stood that man, so thank you.
I will just nod and thank her for the advice of the situation and acknowledge that I will be more careful in the future, but that it was particularly getting to me, as we both know, that in many ways merchants are the backbone of the economy, and that the wealthy at this event do need us for their society to function.
Very well put. And on that note, I do want to get back to Ileana and Nova, but since that gives me a bit of a segue, speaking about the wealthy at this function, Lina, Princess Leona actually does seem to have noticed you. Perhaps it was the little conversation that you had with the guard. Perhaps there is simply something about your manner that has caught your eye, but her eye, but she is watching you, and when you notice, she sort of gives you a small nod, possibly of invitation to come over.
Lina will take the invitation quite readily and approach with a certain sway in her step and bow low once she has arrived. Your Royal Highness, it is truly an honor to be able to meet you properly at last.
She says, "Oh, I didn't realize that this meeting was anticipated."
Oh, very much so. The tales of the beauty of Princess Leona are heard even in distant Nangao, but as always, the truth tends to be far greater than any tale.
She sort of chuckles at that and says, "Hey, somebody has a silver tongue. I suppose, you have been told that flattery will get you everywhere."
It's a lesson that I have had to learn for myself, Your Highness. But I must say, and I'm going to use an ability here, actually kind of a combination of two abilities. Under the heartstrings section, I am going to use this one.
Oh, I see.
And answer the question, which for scoundrels is in this case, why would it never last? And in this case, I'm definitely going with because I'm a jewel thief.
Do you actually tell this to her aloud, or are you just notifying me, the GM?
No, just notifying you, the GM. It's more of a personal question that I have to answer, I believe. However, I am additionally using one of the abilities from my Scoundrel playbook, which works in tandem with this one.
Ooh.
So she gains an additional string on me, and I get a +1 forward on any acts I take that I think would impress her.
All right, very nice use of your character sheet. Yeah, she definitely seems to be intrigued by you. It seems that, and I'm just gonna give you a little bit of insight on this, because, like, she's not trying to hide it or anything, but, she seems to enjoy your, the fact that you're a bit, more quick-witted, the fact that you, know how to make your way around, you know how to make your way around an interesting conversation. Let's put it that way.
It's something that Lina prides herself on. Out of curiosity, like, I'm assuming we're not in the stage of the party yet, like, where sort of dancing is a thing?
No, not yet, because not all of the guests have arrived. Which we are getting further along time-wise than I was expecting. So, would you mind if we just left the two of you chatting and got back to Nova and Ileana?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, Ileana, this weird paranoid guard has just, called out to you and Lina and, basically has been accusing Lina of, being up to something. What do you want to do about this?
I'm gonna wave at my date to let him know that I'm moving and to kind of motion to bring another drink. And I'm gonna just kind of move up next to Lina and casually be like,
You,
oh,
you
yes.
mean Nova?
Nova, yeah, sorry. Next to Nova and be like, oh yes, there's so many suspicious people out here. I mean, the wealth alone is sure enough to garner attention, let alone all these people in one place that, just one loss can devastate an entire community. You have so much on your shoulders. I completely understand. And I want to use what is it? Where was it?
Figure out a person?
Yep. And
all right.
That.
Please roll your plus wit.
Okay.
Yep. Now, where are you getting the +3 forward emotional support?
I do not know. It just showed up. So
You
you want me to read that again?
You might have assigned a string to be spent on it.
Oh, never mind. I see a modifier +3 emotional support on my list here, but that was checkmarked for some reason.
Yeah, maybe uncheck mark that and try again.
Not a problem. There we
go. Yes, so on an 8, you get to ask questions, but they may ask one of you.
Alright.
What are your 2 questions?
I wanted to figure out what her feelings towards the little princess is.
Towards Poppy?
Poppy, yeah.
Alright.
Definitely those of a guardian, like, protecting somewhat. She definitely views her as more weaker and more easily injured, the kind of thing.
And the other question would be in conversation, how could I get you to introduce me? Because I don't want to just, go up and approach the royalty and everything, but explain that, I've seen her before and I wanted to say hi, basically.
Nova raises her eyebrow, and kind of not quite chuckles, but not quite scoffs, and says, "You really think that I have the you really think that I hold the power to introduce you to them? No, if you're lucky, they'll come up to you. Especially if you're wanting to know the little one. She'll most likely come up to you at some point. She always does."
Alright, and I have this ability here called See Right Through You. It says when you figure out a person during a physical conflict, you may additionally ask one of these questions even on a 6. And I'm asking...
However, I'm gonna stop you right there because I do not believe that this is a physical conflict.
Okay.
That is supposed to be specifically for, when you are, you know...
You smacking Nova?
Using a
Nova's
danger...
gonna fight back.
No, I
Nova will fight.
Yeah, but, Nova, you do get to ask a question, so what question would you like to ask?
What are you doing here?
Alright.
Hang on. Let me... What do you hope to get from being here? Because that would be one of the ones that are on the list.
Okay, what do you hope from being here?
I just want to stir the pot and cause trouble. Nothing, I don't want to hurt
She raises
anyone.
her eyebrows again.
No, I don't want to hurt anyone, I just want to cause drama. And I kind of point over at the dog that's crapping its pants.
You do best to keep it to a minimal. Anything more than that, and we'll have to get you out.
No, I'm just like... But, I want to, like, kind of point out other suspicious people that I see.
She'll pay attention to the ones you point out.
And,
as much as I would love to let you all keep mingling together, it has been about an hour and a half since we started. I am going to introduce the rest of the NPCs.
Alright.
Or at least the rest of the ones that are going to be here for this first bit. Okay. We are... So there's... As you all are having your conversations, a bit of fanfare goes up, and you see over at the entrance to the ballroom, you see coming in, the page announces Crown Princess Rose of Zethorn, accompanied by her lady-in-waiting, Lady Fortune Gambler. I'm just going to move them up a little. Personal Knight, Sir Averta Valiant, he, him pronouns. And Apprentice Royal Sorceress, Mistress Ravina Nevermore. And the party, sort of makes their way down the stairs. Sorry, not down the stairs. Makes their way onto the ballroom floor and, looks around. There's definitely some murmuring throughout the crowd. It's very clear that these are guests that have been, widely anticipated for tonight.
I want to ask my new guard friend who these rubes are.
They're esteemed guests. That's literally all she's going to say. I'm sorry, but you raised her suspicions.
That's why I'm standing next to you. Keep your friends close and enemies closer.
Any other comments to be had? Would anybody like a refresher on who all these people are, or...
Sure, I would like one.
Yes.
Hey. Alright, so... you all know of, Crown Princess, Rose. She, is... she is, the Crown Princess of Zethorn, which is the kingdom across the lake, from Flora. It is actually a little unusual to see her here at a, foreign ball. She does not travel outside of her kingdom much. You would all know that she is the only child, perhaps the reason why she's so sheltered is that she's the only child of, King Briar and his queen. And you all would also know that she is trans. She is rumored to be graceful and soft-spoken, if not a little soft-hearted. She is beloved by her people, and she's known to be quite dutiful in her responsibilities. You would know less about her lady-in-waiting fortune gambler. However, you would know that the last name Gambler is not, like, that's a profession name. That's like Smith or Baker or, one of those. That is not a noble name. And some of you may know that she actually, is only a lady because her father won his lordship in a card game.
That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, Lion likes this person.
Yep. But, so no, she was not, she's not, shall we say, from a long, noble line. Sir Averta Valiant, is recognizably a knight. I'm going to say that, Nova, perhaps you would know, this as a fellow, as a fellow, woman, guardsman, that she is actually the great niece of Zethorn's first female knight, and she sort of comes from she comes from a family. He comes from a family of knights. I apologize for using the wrong pronouns there. And then Mistress Ravina, as said, was apprentice to the royal sorcerer who some of you might know is actually a elderly woman named Hecate Nevermore. So, clearly there is some relation going on there. But yeah, the party sort of mingles through the crowd as they make their way up, and I'm going to say that Scorpia, Karamia taps you on the shoulder and whispers to you that their arrival means that they will probably be bringing out the presents for the prince soon. So the two of you should go and, double check the wrapping, make sure that everything is all set for that part of proceedings. So I'm just gonna move your guys' tokens off to the side over here. And I actually am going to say that before we continue any further, it is 11, so if we could just take a quick break, so I can readjust some things.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Alright, I'm back.
Hi, back. I'm Alex.
Oh, I don't know if I told the group chat or the server yet or anything. As far as my diet goes, the last time I weighed myself, I'm down to 308 or around 310. I started last year at like over 400, so yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to get down to 300 by November because that's when the convention is, and so I want to try to be at my lowest weight when I go and try to advertise myself, you know. But they won't do my shoulder replacement until I'm 250, so it's like I have to just go kind of slow pace with all of my schemes right now because I can't program for too long. I can't write for too long. And, you know, once my shoulder gets replaced, then it's going to be like cranked up to 10. I can go back to writing for 16 hours straight. Let my
Alright, I am
ADHD
back.
hyperfocus take over.
Hello.
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 Didn't want to interrupt your what you're saying, but I am back. Heads up, everyone. Rye had to go because there was a family emergency that came up.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna keep going for maybe another hour. But this was already getting to be longer than I had been planning. So we're gonna make this into a two-parter, but I will
Okay.
try and get us to a good stopping point for that.
Not a problem.
I thought we probably would wind up doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, is everybody ready to jump back in?
Yeah.
I'm prepped, yeah.
Yep. Alright, great. So yeah, the Crown Princess and her entourage sort of like mingle a little bit as they make their way up towards the dais and sort of stop at the steps of it and you know give respectful bows and curtsies to the royal family. And King Tarragon steps forward and says, "Oh, welcome, welcome. No need, no need. We are so glad that you could make the journey over here to greet us today. Ah, on my very own boy's special day. Come forward, Charmaign. Come say hello to your guests." And Charmaign sort of steps forward and bows in turn to the entourage and says, hello, I'm very grateful that you all could attend today. I was looking forward to meeting dignitaries of Zethorn. I've read much. I've not had the chance to visit the kingdom myself, but I've read much about your land in my studies. And Poppy sort of takes the opportunity as well to shuffle forward and sort of like comes a bit farther forward than everybody else and just sort of runs up and examines them all a little bit before darting back and then while everybody is distracted, actually sort of sneaking off a bit.
Lina presses her fingers to her lips and kind of giggles at the child's antics.
Yes, but Princess Rose steps out of her curtsy and says, "Thank you very much for having us. I hope it's not too forward, Your Highness, but I've brought a present from my homeland as a sign of friendship. May I?" And he just sort of nods and says, "Oh, yes, I would be happy to receive it." So Princess Rose, and I'm gonna have to put this in the chat because I did not have time to upload the file to Roll20. She comes forward with this lovely little present. And it is clearly very valuable. It is made of rose gold and little polished irregularly cut gemstones to sort of mimic these pinkish leaves. And she says, I wasn't entirely sure what would please you, but I found I asked my parents for advice, and my father told me a story that back when he was very young, your grandfather and mine were friends of a sort, and he told me that one of the more unusual trees in our garden was actually originally from here in Flora and was given as a present from your grandfather to mine back in the days of their youth. I thought it might be a nice cultural exchange if I used some of the materials that my homeland is known for and commissioned them to be made into a replica of the tree. I hope you like it. And so the prince takes the present and thanks her, and the two of them enter into a brief conversation over the history of their countries. And what are all the rest of you doing while this is taking place?
Well, I should note that when the tree is presented, Lina's pupils dilate a little. But beyond that, she's just standing there very politely, looking on with a smile, ever the attentive guest, except for occasional sidelong glances stolen at Princess Leona.
Right. You would notice that Leona is also watching the exchange, and you can. She's mainly watching Charmaign because talk to Princess Rose, because they're kind of the focus of that little gathering over there, and you notice that her eyes have a sort of softness that has not been there so far in the conversation that you have had with her. You wonder if perhaps this seemingly very in control woman does in fact have a bit of a soft spot for her family, maybe.
Good to know.
Nova, Ileana, what are the two of you doing?
I'm going to tap Nova's shoulder and point to, give me a second, Poppy, and just kind of wave at her and see if she'll come towards us. I'm not going to leave the Paranoid's guard's side while I interact with the royalty.
Yep. Poppy was at one of the little tables, grabbing some of those little fruit tarts that I mentioned earlier. But she seems to sense somebody is watching her and turns around and sees the two of you and decides to come over. And she says, "Hello, Nova. Hello again.
Ileana.
Well, I know you, but Illy. That's right, Illy.
Yes.
Hello again.
Hello.
It's been a while."
Yes, it has. Now,
Hello, Princess.
There's something here that says devious scheme. What's this mean here when it says when others go along with your cunning plan? Roll wit.
Let me take a look at that. When others go along with your cunning plan, roll plus wit. On a 10 or higher, twice during your plan, you may choose one. On a 7 to 9, once during your plan, you may choose one. And your choices are: produce just the right object, describe an unexpected weakness in an obstacle, or appear right behind someone at a crucial moment.
Alright, so that's going to be more of a combat or not something I was thinking
heist thing.
All right. So
You know,
yeah, I'm
like
gonna.
if you need to sneak by somebody later or
Right.
whatever.
Well, I'm going to try to entice the princess, although my heart is -1, but whatever. And present her with a present that I had custom made for her, just some music box or something, and just say your brother shouldn't be the only one being showered with gifts. This gifts, young lady.
Go ahead and roll for me.
What do you get the little girl with everything?
Okay. I'm going to say, first of all, mark off experience.
Okay.
I'm going to say that, what happens here is that, she looks intrigued. She opens up the music box and then it fails to play anything.
Oh.
It some sort of mechanical failure has happened. Maybe it did not travel well.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe some,
Nova
maybe,
raises her eyebrow at the woman
you know,
and the
Yeah.
supposed gift.
Right.
yeah, and Poppy just goes, thank you? Thank you. And she's just gonna shut the little box and, tuck it away in her dress, and
I'll send someone to repair it later. It must not have traveled well when I came here. I'm terribly sorry, mistress. My little one. I haven't decided what I wanted to nickname her yet.
Poppy will just say, "That's okay. I'm sure that it'll make a nice little uh bed for mascarpone to use until it gets fixed."
Okay.
And as she says his name, a tiny little creature pokes its head out of Poppy's pocket and just goes,
Well, that's adorable.
Yep. A tiny mouse wearing what looks like a little ice cream cone for a hat uh pokes its little head out, and Poppy goes, "Shh, mascarpone, not now. You'll give yourself away." And he's going to go back into her pocket. Hang on just a sec. I need a minute because,
All right.
like, do my best to close the curtains there because the time of night when the street cleaners are out and the flashing lights were really starting to give me a headache.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, do. I am. Hmm. Uh, I am going to say that. Oh, I did not realize I had an accidental extra mascarpone on the map. There's that. I'm going to say that the band strikes up a little tune, and hang on, let me put something different on. And the prince and princess make their way towards the dance floor. You know, the couple of small couples form on the dance floor, and actually, I'm not going. Rather than do that, I'm going to say, is anybody in the party interested in
Could you turn that down just a little bit, because it's a little overpowering.
Sure thing.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. Alright, is...
Go ahead.
Well, I think you were just about to answer the question I was going to ask. Is anybody else interested in taking to the dance floor?
Lina will turn to Princess Leona, bow slightly and extend her hand and say, "Might I have the honor of this dance, your ladyship?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask Princess Poppy to dance, but I'm gonna look at Nova and be like, unless the guard wishes to go for a spin around the floor.
If Princess Poppy agrees, then Nova will nod her head with approval that it's okay to take Princess Poppy on the dance floor.
Princess Poppy readily agrees to dance. In fact, she seems quite eager. She runs out. She grabs your hand and runs out onto the dance floor.
Nova's left dancing with Mouser cupping.
Mascarpone. I mean, if you want, I was just going to like mascarpone is still in Poppy's pocket, is what I was going to say. So I'm just going to set him aside for now. Lina, if you would, you see Leona hesitate a moment, and then she will give a nod and take your hand and go out onto the dance floor. I'm just gonna pop you two over somewhere where there aren't huge amount of people.
That works for me. There is a role I would like to do for this.
Yes.
Using, given her impressive grace, I would like to roll for entice.
Please do so. Ooh.
Oh. Thank you, +1 forward. So, in that case, gain a string on them and they choose one. Get flustered and awkward, promise something they think you want, given to their desires.
Right. Going to I'm a little torn between promising something they think you want and give in to desire. Definitely not gonna get flustered and awkward. She's too cool for that. She's been around the block a little too long. Yeah, she is going to as the two of you dance, she says, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting to particularly enjoy tonight, but you've livened things up a fair bit.
Yes, that's right. Well then, if that is all that I accomplish on this evening, I shall consider it a roaring success.
She laughs and says, I doubt I'll be able to get away for long, but if I'm able to accomplish my obligations here in a timely manner, would you be opposed to perhaps being shown around to some of the parts of the castle that most guests don't typically get to see? Have a little more time to talk amongst ourselves.
That sounds delightful. I am at your disposal, Your Highness.
Alright. The music seems to have stopped for some reason.
Did you click the repeat button?
I think I must have accidentally unclicked it. But yeah, there we go. Music back on. Ileana and Poppy. Poppy is honestly quite the accomplished dancer, especially for her age. She seems to be having no trouble leading you around the ballroom. how are you doing with this dance?
Well, I'm keeping up. I have quite a lot of grace, so what I wanted to do is while we're dancing is try to figure out a person on her, because I wanted to know. I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask of her.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and roll your figure out a person?
Okay. Alright. And I wanted to know what her feelings are towards the new guest members that arrived. That new prince there, that other princess.
Yep, she says, I don't really know, 'cause she just showed up, but she seems nice. Then again, she also seems like she'd scream if she ever saw mascarpone, so jury's still out.
Okay. And so the other question I want to ask her is, how do you feel if I kind of apprentice you in the ways of the court to really teach you how to see people? And I want to go and point to the princess she just said and point out some obscure oddity that, I could deduce, and, the how she really is versus how she's acting. Watch what people do, not what they say, type of a thing.
Okay, I'm going to say, I'll give you this one without you having to try and figure out a person,
You want me to do a person on the other one? But would I be able to do that from far away, or?
No, I'm just gonna say something that you'd be able to tell without doing that. You'd be able to tell that, while she's clearly, she doesn't seem to be not getting along with the prince. However, she seems a bit... This dance, for instance, she seems a bit flustered to be getting close to him. Perhaps she hasn't danced with many men before. Perhaps, it's, just the fact that, she's not as used to these, Kingdom of Flora dances as she is the Zethorn dances, but she seems... While she doesn't seem like... She was certainly enjoying her conversation with him earlier, she seems just the littlest bit uncomfortable.
I see.
So I'm gonna give that one to you for free.
Alright.
Because I'm gonna say that's fairly obvious to anybody who's watching closely. Like, you can't tell why exactly it's happening, but you can tell that it is happening.
Right.
However, Poppy, in reaction to your question, is going to be one of mild confusion, in part because that's not actually, I don't think that's actually on your list of questions.
It's right. How would you feel if I...
Oh, what are your feelings towards? Okay. Yeah. In that case, I'm going to say she's still a little confused. She asked, are you volunteering to be one of my tutors?
I'm just gonna chuckle and pat her head and say, of a sorts. You have tutors that teach you to dance, tutors that teach you math, and how the stars move, but do you have tutors that teach you what people are really saying behind the words that they speak?
Oh, do you mean like those etiquettes?
Of a sort, yes. But real etiquette, not the ones that they teach naive little girls.
She thinks about this a minute and then she says, if you give me lots of treats when I get it right, and don't ask me silly questions about which fork goes where, then I will consider it.
And deal. And then I do a pinky swear to her.
She acquiesces.
Awesome.
Honest to God, I thought I was going to say etymologist.
No. That is another $10 word, and she would not know that one yet. But she also gets to ask one of you, you know what? This is a question that a little kid would just straight up ask someone. She's gonna ask, what do you love most?
Well, I'm just going to smile and reply, Chev. It's a good friend of mine, and he's always with me. Kind of like
You mean like mascarpone is with me?
Yes, exactly. But Chev is a secret I don't talk to anyone about. So if we can keep it between us, I would much appreciate it. And I take out a ornate looking mouse deer that is in the shape of Chev. It's ordained, put gold trim and stuff on it and everything. I'm like, hey, this is what he looks like. So, and then I just put it back in my pocket. And I'm gonna say, now Poppy, your first lesson is to stay by me and keep your ears open. And I
Do, Illy.
the treats.
She immediately gobbles it up. I will say that the hang on. The song ends. I'm gonna put the original one back on just for a minute. People part and applaud the small orchestra that is there doing their bit. Leona excuses herself briefly to go get a refreshment, basically says that she is out of wine. You notice the prince and princess sort of take a step back from each other, sort of cutesy awkwardly complimenting each other on their dance skills, and as the band starts up another song, or rather just as they are about to, the lights go out. And I'm gonna just ask everybody to, look away from the map. Oh wait, I just realized something I can do. There we go. You guys should be seeing something else now.
We are.
Okay. Great. Because I need to rearrange a few things. But yeah, the lights go out, and there is a good 30, 40 seconds of absolute darkness. The ballroom does not the ballroom does not have any windows streaming light in. It was lit entirely by the chandeliers above. So when the lights come down, there is confusion, gasps and cries of alarm. Ileana, Poppy actually grabs hold of your skirt, seemingly to make sure that you are still there. I mean, she's doing exactly what you taught her. Nova, I'm going to say that due to your bestial nature, you actually do have slightly better night vision. Your eyes are just starting to adjust enough to see a shape. You can't tell who it is, certainly, but you see sort of like a shape move through the darkness towards the dais, and then there is a pained, groaning scream, which alarms the crowd, causes other people to start screaming. There's sounds of people trying to move away from the initial source of noise, and then the lights come back on, which I will show in just a minute where everybody is. I still have one or two people to place. And the lights come back on, and you can see King Tarragon on his knees, clutching an injured shoulder that is bleeding quite profusely, and you can see standing in shock, maybe, hang on. 3, 4... maybe about 40 feet away, Crown Princess Rose of Zethorn is standing, clutching a bloodied spear. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Awesome.
Lina grumbles something under her breath about amateurs messing up her perfectly nice plot.
This is such a cliffhanger. I love it.
Yeah, this is definitely a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of always knew that, like, if we were going to do a two-parter, I was going to try and end on this, but, yeah. I'm gonna ask you all to keep your tokens where they were, just because I've got everything set for, next session. Everything's pretty much where it needs to be. But yeah, how did everybody enjoy the story so far?
I like the story, and I like the game too. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a bit nice to
Good.
have a more less combat situated system and more better way to how to navigate, through your the interpersonal relationships and stuff in the game itself.
Yeah. I mean, I've been enjoying it. If you have any tips on, what I can do, better in session 2, or things that you'd maybe like to see more of or less of, you can go ahead and send them to me. But yeah, it is almost midnight here. So I'll stick around to chat for a little while, but I'm not sure how much longer I'm gonna be up because I need to clean up my space and get to bed.
All right.
No,
well, you have a good evening.
very, very understandable. Yeah. Although I will say this, I almost wish that Leona had actually hesitated and I had gotten to use this move, because this is a fun move.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, the Scoundrel Handbook is just so fun.
Yeah, I honestly am looking forward to like as much fun as I'm having DMing this, I'm also looking forward to not DMing it and just playing sometime. So if anybody is interested in in putting together a session, I mean, you do, I think, still have access to the rulebook.
I'm definitely interested. I might already have some ideas.
Nice.
Well,
All right.
more than happy to work out, and we can stream them, so we can have just one day be Thirsty Sword Lesbians, whoever's DMing it that day.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be neat. I have to run to the bathroom again real quick, but I will be back. Just gotta clean some stuff up.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thanks. We got a couple of viewers.